Gonna talk about 5 rock artists that if you're into Bruno Mars, you might like these artists. I'll have timestamps in the description, and I also have playlists where I've done this for other artists as well. So Bruno Mars has won, like, I think it's 16 Grammys at this point. He won a Grammy in the most recent awards. He's been playing music since he was a little kid. He was doing Elvis impersonations since he was a kid. His music spans lots of different styles, lots of different genres, and he's a true musician. He can write music, he can play lots of different instruments, he doesn't just sing really well. I like that he does so much different stuff. I like that he collaborates with a lot of different people. It's really neat and unique, and he is one of those guys that, can, I think, really do anything musically these days. And he's definitely a legend, a living legend, and he's going to go down, I think, as a legend. Daryl Hall and John Oates, mostly known for their hits from the 70s and 80s. This is a Philadelphia-based duo that has a very Motown soul funk vibe, even though they're really rock artists is how they're typically classified. Bruno Mars does a lot of collaborations, and this is a collaboration of two gentlemen, and Daryl Hall and John Oates, one of the most probably mispronounced band names in Hall & Oates. It's not the name of the band, it is Daryl Hall and John Oates. Like Bruno Mars with Daryl Hall, was a young musician doing stuff when he was a kid. In this case, Bruno Mars was doing the Elvis impersonations, and Daryl's mom was like an opera style and gospel style singer and taught lessons and was having him do, singing stuff when he was very young as well. Their songs, sonically, the style of the music, a lot of them fit with a lot of the Bruno Mars stuff. If you listen to it, there's a lot of keyboards, a lot of really cool affected guitars, things that you hear in all the Bruno Mars songs. So they're really a 70s, 80s version of what Bruno Mars does today, especially when you take the consideration that it's often Bruno Mars with someone like Anderson .Paak or someone like today, Lady Gaga, was Mark Ronson back in the day. Same kind of deal a little bit with kind of a duo vibe. Dispatch. This is kind of a folk jam, indie, acoustic, reggae style band from the Vermont area, really making music that was known for, at least when they were first big in the late 90s, early 2000s. They kind of went on a hiatus and then came back around. It was originally 3 members. There's only 2 members today that are in the band still playing. Like Bruno Mars, a lot of his songs have some of a like older stuff, a reggae kind of beachy, islandy vibe. And that's what makes me think of these guys a little bit. These guys are great musicians. It's 3 guys and they switched instruments around. Bruno Mars can play lots of different instruments. He can play the drums, he can play guitar, he can play the keyboard. These guys will switch around who's singing lead in the song and who's singing harmonies. They'll switch around who's playing what instruments. And really songs that Bruno has makes me think of Dispatch, like the Lazy song and the I Want to Be a Billionaire. Anything he did, especially in his earlier day, that had that kind of beach reggae vibe. If you like that, you'll like Dispatch. Billy Joel. A lot of Bruno Mars's music has piano as a pretty strong feature, especially his solo music, the music he does on his own. His first big hits were a lot of them featuring the piano very heavily. There's a lot of different rock artists, but Billy Joel is really from the 70s is when he got big, but he made hits in the 80s, he made hits in the 90s, he still performs today. And he's had a wide range of lots of different styles of music, kind of like Bruno Mars. He has rock songs, but he has a whole bunch of 80s songs that are more doo-wop and kind of Motown-y, really fits with some of the Bruno Mars style. And some of the stuff he does in the piano is very, very classical piano sounding. He has a song called Piano Man that has a lot of classical sounding piano stuff in it. So if you like anything about Bruno Mars being a piano musician, if you like the Motown doo-wop stuff he does, there's a lot of different hits, a lot of different styles with Billy Joel that you'll probably like. DonnyBenet. Bruno Mars is a funky, sexy player, and I don't know if there is a funkier, sexy player out there than DonnyBenet. This guy really is just the guy out there for funk, for sex appeal, for just raw, pleasure from music. I don't know how else to describe DonnyBenet other than the words and funky and sexy and awesome. He's a great, great bass player. He doesn't just play the bass, but damn, he plays it good. And he goes out there, he gives it his all. You're never going to see somebody with more swag, more charisma. If there's anything about what Bruno Mars does when he's up there that you think is cool and sexy and swaggy, and you like the funky side of his music, you need to check out Donny Benet, and you are going to be upset with yourself for not learning about how awesome this gentleman was sooner if you weren't familiar. Donny Benet is great, doesn't get enough love, and he is amazing. Just check him out. Check out how smooth and awesome and how sexy his songs are. The Fix. This is a UK-based kind of new wave art pop rock band who was really popular in the early 80s. The band members have pretty much been around since the early 80s, and they're still making music and they're still touring, but the hits are mostly from the 80s. If you think of anything from like Unorthodox Jukebox with the guitars and the effects and the funky rock, new wave 80s style that Bruno Mars has, The Fix, all their hits really have a very much a unorthodox jukebox sound that Bruno Mars is going for in that, I think. I like the rocky stuff that he does. I prefer the songs that he does that have more of an 80s rock vibe myself, although I like all the stuff he does. And when he has his 80s rock vibe, The Fix really does match that. So if you like songs like Locked Out of Heaven, if you like songs like Treasure, there's definitely songs by The Fix that have that vibe, and they're a really cool band. You should check them out.